Greetings all! Today, we will be examining the relatively uncommon poison or poison-dark type Pokemon Grimer and its relatively rare evolution Muk, collectively known as the Sludge Pokémon. Feared for their toxic attributes and their even more toxic bodies, the members of the Grimer family are putrid creatures that can easily be seen as some of the vilest poison-type Pokemon known. Grimer have bodies made of an amorphous purple sludge that can be shaped freely to their desire. Typically though, they have very large, vacant, pinprick black eyes, a large mouth with exposed purple tongue, and a pair of arms that each end in a trio of thick fingers. Their Alolan variants have the same general body form to them, except their bodies are a putrid green color with a yellow rim around their mouth, and they have a pair of small tooth-like structures on the upper part of their mouth made of compacted and crystallized toxins. Their evolved form, Muk, possess the same general body form, but their bodies are much larger and not as well defined as their pre-evolved form. Their hands have degenerated to the point where they may shift form and might not even be entirely present at any given moment, but their eyes and mouth remain the same, giving them a terrifying appearance. Their Alolan variant, while sharing the same general body form, have a rainbow of colors splotched in layers across their body that ripple with their movements, and their mouths, back, and fingers are lined with many crystals of hardened toxins, giving them a toothy maw and a form that looks even more terrifying than that possessed by their traditional counterpart. The members of the Grimer family are some of the most horrific of Pokemon to exist and serve as a terrible reminder of the wasteful ways of man, both in older times and even in the modern era. Many hypotheses have been put out over the years to try and explain the existence of these monsters, some even going so far as to say that they were created when toxic sludge was exposed to X-rays from the moon, but this is practically preposterous. Instead, the truth of the matter is that these creatures are actually the collective consciousness of a large colony of microorganisms that exist together as a rare communal group, using electrical signals between large numbers of members in order to generate a mind, very similar to the way that brain cells send electrical signals through neurons in the bodies of most other living Pokemon. These creatures are able to break down a number of nasty, toxic compounds to create the energy they need to sustain themselves, and this has led to them thriving in pools of toxic sludge, where these toxins are usually concentrated. In order to keep their hunger satiated, they use their collective hive mind as well as strong chemical bonds that allow them to fuse the outer parts of their bodies to move large piles of sludge as animated bodies, thus giving rise to the life forms we know as Grimer and Muk. These monsters thrive in polluted waters, especially polluted seabeds, and are notorious for not only their horrid smell, but also their toxic nature, as their bodies are so poisonous that coming into direct contact with them can often be enough to severely poison and kill other life forms. Interestingly though, these creatures are not always born of the sludge that is pumped out of factories, as they have been known to exist in the Alola region as a special variant, mainly comprised of compacted and semi-liquefied garbage. Their toxic, viscous forms and horrific smell, in the case of normal Grimer and Muk, is what allows them to possess the stench and sticky hold abilities as base abilities, while those that have particularly toxic forms can instead possess the poison touch ability as a hidden ability. Their Alolan variants, on the other hand, do not give off such a horrible smell most of the time, but are much more poisonous and voracious eaters, granting them access to the poison touch and gluttony abilities as base abilities, while those that are able to generate unique toxins in their body to give them powerful unique elemental properties can grant them exclusive access to the power of alchemy ability as a hidden ability. As far as the stats are concerned, in the case of Muk, these creatures really do not have much going for them in the way of physical defenses as a result of their semi-liquid forms, and are not able to harness it well for projectiles, nor move very fast with their forms, resulting in their base defense, special attack and speed stats being below average for fully evolved poison-type Pokemon. However, these creatures more than make up for this with their physical form, which is able to reflect special energy fairly well, and is bulky enough to give them deceptive amounts of stamina and plenty of physical strength to throw around, thanks to the hardened state of their sludge bodies, granting them above average base HP, attack, and special defense stats for fully evolved Pokemon of their type. Alolan and Muk are a bit behind this, as only their base special defense stat is above average for fully evolved Dark-type Pokemon, but they can nonetheless prove to be a serious threat more than worth fearing, even if it's merely for the terrible toxins that their bodies regularly leach into their environment. Because Grimer feed on the sludge and wastewater from sewers and factories and the lands they are native to, they will gladly go anywhere that is needed to get their fill, and because of their bodies, this is rarely a problem, as they are able to squeeze their forms through just about any space, also meaning that there are very few places that they cannot get into. However, this can lead them to often clog tunnels and pipes and create power outages among other problems, making them a severe public nuisance in large numbers. This as a whole can make them a serious hazard in more ways than one, as while their bodies are highly toxic, the trail of sludge they leave behind is often far worse, as these creatures naturally excrete a toxic germ-infested liquid that kills any plant life they move across, and can even go so far as to spawn more Grimer if the conditions are right to support their existence in survival. Moreover, if these creatures decide to merge with each other, they can create new toxins that tend to be even deadlier than those contained in normal Grimer. This can usually make them a severe nuisance to others and a danger to many, but in this state of evolution, they are not the worst thing to come across, as they do have the capacity to excrete a film around their form that hardens it further, making it quite rubbery. In this state, the film helps to contain all of their toxins, allowing for safe contact to be made. This doesn't make them much easier to handle though, with decent stamina and physical offensive strength for a Pokemon of their caliber, and they normally don't get access to many useful poison-type attacks until close to halfway through their lifetime, so they can be a bit hard to work with. Even so, a bit of training can help them make at least some mild use of their best stats, and definitely are not a Pokemon you want to come into contact with when they are primed and ready for a battle. Thankfully for some, their numbers have been declining in recent years as a result of the cleanup efforts of people across the planet, so these creatures may be on the verge of extinction if not enough is done to keep them safe and protected, such as building sludge pools for them to thrive in. Where normal Grimer manage to evolve, their forms do not actually change all that much in terms of mass. The major difference is that their bodies become less dense and are thus able to grow to a larger size, as the size of their internal colony outgrows the surface area and internal space of their body, additionally going from an EV yield of 1 in HP to 1 in HP and 1 in attack. Because of this, these creatures are able to change shape more readily and seep into spaces even more easily, and additionally get access to the Venom Drench technique when they evolve, as well as the Haze and Moonblast moves, the last one for reasons that are still not entirely understood. But the real trouble comes from the fact that evolution causes the toxins in them to multiply and become far, far stronger. These monsters are so toxic that even their footprints contain poison, and any ground that they touch will be so imbued with their toxic liquid that seeps from their body that nothing will be able to grow there again for at least 3 years. These monsters will gladly eat any trash and polluted garbage they can get their bodies on, making towns residents just throw their garbage out on the street or the lawns, a prime breeding ground for these monsters. Just touching a Muk when it doesn't have a protective film around it can cause humans to contract a terrible fever that requires immediate attention, while trees and plants in general can be killed by their touch almost instantly, and a single drop of the toxic liquid that they generate can turn a body of water stagnant and rancid. Their smell is terrible too, being strong enough to cause some to faint right away, and especially strong in hot and humid conditions, granting them the overwhelming smell of rotting kitchen garbage in the summertime, and the low viscosity allows them to lie flat and hide on the ground quite easily before ambushing others and attacking them, making them a hazard to always look out for, even if they can't be seen in their full form. Furthermore, these creatures love to gather in packs and feast on the toxic waste of large factories and sewers, spawning more of their kind and effectively turning the nesting grounds into toxic waste dumps, even if they were one already to some extent or another. There are some fans of these creatures that enjoy the feeling of their nose scrunching up after taking a whiff of these monsters' stench, and they are lucky ones, as Muk have lost the ability to smell as a result of evolution, and thus care little for whatever discomfort they cause others, making them a severe hazard to deal with in any way. Needless to say, Muk are extremely dangerous to be around and can easily poison anything when they so much as touch them if they do not have a film raised to make them safe to touch, cementing them as by far one of the most dangerous of known poison-type Pokemon. It is lastly important to note that the members of the Grimer family have special variants that are only found in the Alola region, and their forms and elemental attributes are drastically different as a result of their unique diets. Unlike normal Grimer and Muk, Alolan Grimer and Alolan Muk mainly feed off of garbage and other forms of refuse instead of toxic sludge due to a lack of it in the Alola region. These creatures were originally brought in to help bring down the numbers of the native Trubbish and Garbodor populations as they were getting out of control, and in doing so, they lost their taste for toxic sludge over time, instead feeding off of refuse and mutating as a result. These creatures do not get access to most of the sludge-based moves that their normal counterparts get access to, no longer learning the Mud Slap, Sludge, Mud Bomb, Sludge Bomb, and Sludge Wave attacks. Instead, these creatures use more acid-based moves and are gifted with sharp crystals in their form to amplify their power. Not only do these crystals allow these creatures, along with their new form, to learn the Bite, Acid Spray, Poison Fang, Knockoff, and Crunch attacks, but these crystals are also natural conductors of anti-positive energy, granting these monsters a partial dark type assignment. These crystals are actually the result of their internal toxins crystallizing as the waste is extruded from their body, and while these objects might fall out every once in a while, they should not be handled as they are toxic to the touch and contain highly lethal gases inside that can kill almost instantly if they are inhaled from a broken crystal. Despite this, these creatures are highly valued by the region's sanitation department as they only feed on garbage for the most part, with 100 Alolan Grimer alone being employed to help clean up the refuse of all the islands in the region's main waste disposal site. However, this does come with a setback in that these creatures are voracious eaters, and if they run out of food, they will gladly smash up the furniture from the home of their owners to satiate themselves. It is duly noted that the vivid coloration seen on Alolan Muk in particular is a result of chemical reactions occurring in their body from at least 100 different poisons, serving as the main source of vitality, and the color becomes even more vivid as they continuously feed. Lastly, but certainly not least, in the right conditions, these creatures can use the numerous chemical reactions occurring in their body to change their elemental properties as they see fit after they observe an ally in battle and their ability. In short, they can have the Power of Alchemy ability as a hidden ability, which is completely exclusive to Alolan Grimer and Muk, and allows them to copy the ability of an ally in battle if they faint, potentially granting them a powerful ability that can make them a serious threat to anything foolish enough to challenge them to a fight. Horrible to look at, and even worse to smell or touch, the members of the Grimer family are potent creatures that can more than use the power of poison to overwhelm others and end their day. You might have to wear some serious protective gear if you plan on getting one for your collection, but their impressive powers can more than make them worth it and a true threat for any and all Pokemon that come their way. Just make sure that you keep a fair distance from them and try not to enrage them. Grimer might not be very large or have a ton of power behind them, but get stuck in a confrontation with a Muk and you'll more than get to see just how dangerous these putrid living piles of toxic sludge can truly be before they potentially end your life with a single touch. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description.
Yeah, no.
With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.